Thank you very much for tuning into That Will Never Work podcast. So, I have a question for you. What if you could build a coaching business that feels real, serves others, and actually pays the bills? In today's episode, I am joined by Lydia, who believes that authenticity and financial sustainability should go hand in hand. And if you're a coach trying to build something that lasts, I guarantee you that this particular show is for you. We'll be right back.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Thank you for tuning in today. So I'm gonna tell you, I did my little research, Lydia, and I heard in one of your other episodes that you are little compared to your children. So I take it that you are a powerhouse in general. But I thank you very much for coming on to the show.
Hi, Maurice. Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I am. I have 4 kids. Well, I call them kids, but they are really tall. The 3 boys are really tall. They're 19, 21, and 23, and they're grown-ups.
And I brought up the kids because a lot of times we look at our business as if they're still, a kid, right? It's our child. It's our thing that we're trying to nurture and mature. But a lot of times, we don't have the patience, and I can speak on this level. For me, my kids are relatively the same as your kids. My kids will be 24 and 23. 24 and 22 this year, right? And my daughter, who's now graduating from graduate school and things like that. So I'm kind of ready for her to kind of leave the nest. just
Yeah, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. And you know what? I actually really enjoy now when they actually live outside house, different city, different countries even.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoy now when they're back and
Mm-hmm.
we're having a dinner conversation and we discuss politics and economics and everyone and they have their own opinions. Sometimes we have very heated discussions, but I really enjoy kind of their independence and that I put something in them. I'm kind of making this analogy with the business, and then I let them go, and then so I enjoy that I never was a kind of a mother that kind of hold on to them. I let them go, I let them grow, I let them take their own path, make their own mistakes. So, with our own business, I think it's also important kind of give your business freedom, give your business, make sure it's sustainable, make sure it does not depend on you 100%. And I think it's very relevant for coaches. So it's very, very relevant, very important for coaches for financial sustainability that you mentioned in the beginning. Make sure you not just offer your coaching like one-on-ones or even group, but there is nothing that could go on and bring revenues to a business when you're not working, when you're taking a break, when you're taking a rest.
One of the things that I think is a challenge because it is our baby, right? Well, sometimes we don't want it to breathe. Right? We need to give it a little bit of air. So how would you encourage someone to maybe take a step back and allow it to breathe and trust that you've put enough into it that it can still go out there and be a free little baby bird?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess my favorite answer, it depends. So, when I work with my clients as a business coach, I don't offer kind of one size fit all solution. So For someone that could be having digital products, right?
Mhm,
The online courses, the ebooks or the books, um, membership kind of library, right?
mhm,
That
mhm,
model. For
mhm,
others, that could be building a team, right? So kind of hiring and training other coaches that could, you know, take your role, take your space, and you know, and complement you. That could be even not just coaches, but other specialists.
mhm.
For example, that could be kind of the agency kind of model, right? Especially
Right.
like in the business coaching space, or teaming up with someone. So I think there are various ways how to do it, but I think
Mm,
opening, looking outside the box in terms of the business model and building the business model that works for you. And like you said, allows you that freedom and that flexibility. Because if you ask, like Maurice, when you ask entrepreneur coaches, entrepreneur, like, why did you leave corporate
mhm,
job to become, they say, oh, I was looking for freedom, I was looking for flexibility, and then they end up working, they end up being a
mm,
slave or being
mhm,
attached to their baby, being attached.
mhm.
um so I think that's important, kind of, maybe not in the beginning, but early on, right? Before you get into the burnout, before you get into kind of suffocation mode where you, and I'm
Mhm.
sure you've seen as well,
Oh,
coaches
yes.
give up. Coaches say, "Oh, I'd rather go to my corporate job because I need some rest. I need some, I'm just burned out. I'm just
Mhm,
totally exhausted from this nonstop treadmill." So I think before you get to that stage, it's very important to think about what is the business model that will offer me
mhm.
a longer term success, and that breathing room, and that flexibility, and the financial stability. There are a lot of factors,
Right,
not
right.
easy, but possible, definitely possible.
And I think one of the challenges is that, for some other coaches that I've heard, some workshops and classes, it's almost like a one idea fits all. And I think I'm listening to what you're saying, that there is some diversity in how we should move forward. So how do I stay my authentic self and stay true to my mission and my vision if everyone is teaching me to be just like someone else, especially when we look at social media as well?
Oh, yeah, I have a bit of a grind with those teachers who give you that this is the way to do it. I just don't subscribe to that idea. Again,
Mm,
I think this is a beauty of one-on-one coaching. One-on-one, I actually call what I do. I call it coach salting, because a lot of what I do is a mixture of coaching, kind of helping get things out of the client, the
mhm,
authenticity part.
mhm,
And then consulting is building together in a partnership that business model that fits. I think you have to start, and I really love Cal Newport's idea, lifestyle centered planning. So
mhm,
that's where I would start. The authenticity comes from that. So, what kind of lifestyle you want in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? Like, do you see yourself kind of communicating a lot? Are you an extrovert? Do you want to, talk to a lot of people? Then maybe your business model is membership, community, building events, masterminds, master classes, live events. So, a lot of that. Now, if you're on the other side of that spectrum, you love to live somewhere in the woods and
mhm,
write a book
Mhm.
or kind of just go and communicate with people a little bit and have the very intimate one-on-one coaching sessions. And you're introvert, like on this
Mhm.
spectrum, then it's completely different lifestyle that you want for you in 5 and 10 years time. That will dictate the business model that you want to ultimately build. And that's where we kind of pin that
Mhm.
as a compass, as the signpost, and that's where we're going to go. But what we will be building on the way will be determined by that.
So a lot of times, I mean, I only can speak for myself, but I'm pretty sure you've come across it as well. If you really were to ask someone that type of question, what type of lifestyle they want the mega mansion, right? But some of that is, hey, what is your real expectation? What is not shown to you in a commercial perspective? Because again, for myself, I only have the two kids. My kids will be leaving the nest soon, right? So, does my wife and I really need a 30,000 square foot home? so,
Yeah.
so how do you keep someone to be realistic and grounded?
Sure, sure. And that's where the coaching part comes in. So that's why what I do, I call coach salting, right?
Hmm.
So that's where I put my coaching hat on, coach hat on, and I go deep on values. And I do value elicitation session, and you know, that could take some time, but I kind of invite a client to go deep into what actually important to them
Hmm.
at the you know at the deep down level, and give few exercises that could help the meditation, long walks. So you know and the deathbed exercise, right? Like when you're in your deathbed, what would you want to have accomplished? What would you regret? So there are a couple of really good exercises. And I think what people don't realize, like on like the two spectrum that we described,
Hmm.
right? The first one and the second, they both, in terms of financial success, they both could be really successful. So when we're talking about lifestyle, we're not talking about money
Hmm.
they're gonna have. We're talking about like what do they enjoy doing in
Hmm.
life. So when we're doing this lifestyle center planning, um, we're not starting from the numbers, 1 million, $10 million. No, we're starting like, what do you actually enjoy doing? Again, sitting, writing, drawing, kind of being by yourself, being with nature, or maybe traveling, or maybe hiking, or maybe surfing, or you like actually talking to people, speaking. So we go into the whole life. I think it's very hard to focus on your business without understanding your life as a whole and your values, what's important to you. And I, as a coach, I think my role, my task is
Hmm.
to help my clients to look bigger, beyond the mansions, beyond the yachts,
Hmm.
beyond the Ferraris and Maseratis, and
Hmm.
beyond the material, right? Step up in
Hmm.
terms of the impact they want to make to the world, and simple things they enjoy. So think about everything together.
Wow. So one of the things that I'm listening to is I'm listening to you. I think about whether or not I want to deal with the man in the mirror because sometimes we don't like to see that person and
Mm.
don't understand because you said something about values. And sometimes we don't understand where our true value system really is because sometimes we run away from it. Sometimes we want to forget about it or we try to tack on someone else's value and not really understanding who we really are. So I think one of the things that you're asking for us to do is to take a little deeper dive, maybe.
100%, 100%. I think you touch on a couple of important points.
Hmm.
So one is with this amount of information that we're consuming every day, I think we a lot of times very outwards
Mhm.
oriented. So, like you said, so we looking at someone and we like what we see, and we start say, oh, I want that, without actually understanding that you wouldn't like that, because we only see the facade, we only see the
Right,
the external, we don't know what's going on inside.
right.
So I think, again, one of the things that I'm asking is to focus inward a little bit more for that part of the exercise, right?
Mhm,
And redefining what success actually means. I think we
mhm.
don't spend enough time talking about what success means. We see these video clips nicely done
Right,
with people in the nice places with the nice things, with expensive things, and we think,
right,
oh, this is how success look like. But I don't think so. I think
right.
each of us need to define success in our own words,
Mhm,
and this is what authenticity means now. So
mhm.
this is one problem, and this is what I'm asking you to do, or clients to do,
You're right, you're right.
to look inward and spend more time kind of with this deep question. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's even deep, it's just directed inward,
Mhm,
versus outwards, right? So this is one. And second, I think we have a lot of limiting beliefs.
right, you're right.
For example, again, we think, or if you live in a cabin and write books, you can't earn as much as if you are doing webinars, doing speaking events, or whatnot.
Mhm,
So for some reason, we have this beliefs that this means that, and this does not mean that.
mhm,
So another task of mine as a coach is break those beliefs,
mhm.
right? By showing examples where what you believe actually doesn't mean always true, and vice versa, what they believe is not true actually possible, right?
Mhm,
So a combination of these two, we're working with that, and that's the power of coaching,
mhm,
right? You can't learn this. You can learn techniques, you can learn tactics, you can learn skills, but this can only done in the interaction. This is
mhm.
the power of coaching, where you sit with someone one-on-one and you listen, and you deep listening, and you ask powerful questions,
Right.
and you help them with that work that they will need to do.
So here from so it's talking about getting a deeper dive, right? From a coaching perspective. Again, I did my research, right? And so if you remember, I called you a powerhouse in the very beginning. And I'm saying that because of, if people really know your backstory, and I encourage anybody to really listen to Lydia's story, because it truly influences about where she is today. And because of her backstory, most people would normally say, you know what, I started off bad, I'm gonna end off bad, and not understanding I still can create a better future for myself. I'm still gonna work through the process. So that's why, from a coaching perspective, I need to understand who I'm really talking to and understanding where they're coming from in order for all of us to move forward. Because just as much as I'm coaching you, you're actually coaching me at the same time. And sometimes we don't understand that dynamic as we're going through this process either.
Right. Yeah. Uh, my story uh, um, is something that influenced where I am
Mhm,
today.
mhm.
And I, what I say, I was given a lot of lemons, and
Right.
as cheesy as it sounds, I made a pretty tasty lemonade out of that. Um, and I often notice that clients that are attracted to me, it does make a difference. So they
Hmm.
do choose me because they also going through something, or some similar life situations,
Hmm.
context.
Hmm.
I think I, I kind of, whenever I get a next challenge, let me
Hmm.
say this, whenever I get the next challenge, and they there are abundance of them, I say, okay, yes, it's hard. Yes, I have to overcome that, but it's another thing that I can, working through that, I will be able to help my clients better.
Hmm. Wow. So before I let you go, Lydia, so I'm gonna give it this little teaser, right? To understand why I think that just give an idea. You relocated to a whole new country,
Twice
right?
with the
And-
family.
and sometimes we don't understand how impactful that really can be to the dynamic, not just personally, but like you said, with the family. And I think that's where some of the inspiration comes, and the grit and the foundation is set, things like that. So for those individuals who are looking for a coach like you, Lydia, where can they find you to so they can understand where their foundation is and how to be able to work through any situation?
Right. I think the best is LinkedIn. I'm there pretty much every day. So just type my name. And I recently actually changed my name. Not that I changed it, it's because nobody, I tell you, nobody can pronounce my surname. So I was kind of struggling. What do I do with that? And finally, inspiration came. I took the first three letters from my maiden name, and now I'm Lidia Axe. And
Okay.
I think not only it is my name, not
Right.
full, but it is my name, and I think it kind of represent that grit,
Right.
represent that determination,
Hmm.
that I exhibit and I help my clients to get more of. So find me on LinkedIn. I'm there. Send me connection request. You can find. I try to post there regularly. Yeah, and I'm very easy to chat. So DM me, and we'll go from there.
Nice, nice, nice. And also, your books and everything else, you'll be able to find all that on this, as I said, powerhouse. She inspired me. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I do have one more question before I let you go. And it's funny
Absolutely.
because I also heard something along these lines in doing my research. But it's my would you rather question. Would you rather choose three doors or a fork in the road? Now, let's preface it by this as well. Use your imagination, okay? There's no parameters and there's no right or wrong. So
Okay.
however you answer, you answer.
Okay. Sure. Um, Early on, I was pushed to make decisions quickly.
Hmm.
So actually, at this stage of my life, I would choose three doors,
Okay.
and then I would explore all of them.
Okay. Okay. I said there's no parameters, right? No one said you can't open up all three
There
doors.
you go.
Listen, no one said that the doors weren't already open.
There you go. But I did. You see, one of my values, I do know my values,
Mhm.
obviously, because I think they direct a lot of decisions that I make, and they make the decision making process easier. One
Mhm.
of my top three values is daring. So sometimes when there are no challenges, I find them. So I did
Nice.
assume the doors are closed. And I said, well, I'm still going to open all three and see what's there.
Nice. That's funny. Nice. No, but I thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Yeah. That's how our values, just a quick side note, that's how our
Yeah,
values drive everything we do in life. And
most definitely.
knowing your values, understanding them, it just makes you understand yourself better.
But a lot of people, because you said one of the things that was daring, a lot of us don't want to take that risk. We play a lot of things safe. So unfortunately, we don't see our business thrive because a lot of us going to be thinking outside the box, taking on new technologies, whatever it is, so we can't always play it safe. And not even just from an entrepreneur perspective, even just moving within the corporate sector, period. A lot of times you got to take a risk on yourself. And a lot of times we don't like to do that.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
if you're there, if you're stuck, if you cannot make that decision, I'm your person. I
most
definitely
definitely.
gonna help you move forward, make this decision, and enjoy it. Enjoy it on the way.
Cool, cool. So I thank you very much for coming on, though.
No, thanks a lot. I enjoyed it a lot.
Sure, no problem. I have fun with this. So thank y'all very much for listening to That Will Never Work podcast, and I'll talk to you a little bit later.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chism on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?